Night fell gently over Alexandria. Not suddenly, not with violence. It arrived the way endings always do. Quietly, patiently. The sea no longer reflected the light of celebration. The streets were empty. The air was heavy with knowing. Somewhere behind thick stone walls, a woman sat alone with history. She did not sleep. She listened. Cleopatra had learned long ago that silence was never empty. It carried footsteps, whispers, decisions already made. She was born into a world where love was dangerous and trust was fatal. Her family ruled Egypt, but they ruled it with fear. Brothers removed brothers. Sisters vanished. Names were erased as easily as breath on cold stone. From childhood, she understood something others did not. Power was not loud. It did not shout. Power waited. While other children played beneath the sun, Cleopatra learned the languages of those who would one day stand above her. Greek, Egyptian, Latin. Words were her weapons. She listened more than she spoke. And when she spoke, people remembered. Not because her voice was strong, but because it was precise. The palace she grew up in was beautiful and cruel. Marble floors hid bloodstains beneath polished stone. Curtains concealed meetings that decided life and death. She watched carefully. She remembered who survived and who did not. By the time she was old enough to rule, she already knew how easily a crown could become a sentence. Exile came without warning. One day she was queen. The next, she was nothing. No guards, no palace, no safety. Only the desert and the slow sound of her own breathing at night. But exile did not break her. It clarified her. In the quiet away from power, she understood it better than ever. Egypt did not need a ruler who shouted. It needed one who could bend the world without touching it. When word came that Rome had arrived, Cleopatra did not panic. Rome always arrived. And it never left without taking something with it. She knew the man who stood at the center of it all. A general, a politician, a symbol, Julius Caesar. She also knew that armies were useless against men like him. What mattered was presence, timing, control. Her return was not loud. It did not involve soldiers or banners. She entered quietly, carried not by strength, but by intention. When she stood before him, she did not beg. She spoke, and the world shifted slightly off its axis. For a time, Egypt breathed again. Cleopatra ruled not with illusion, but with understanding. She knew Rome was watching. She knew it always would. But she also knew Rome respected intelligence far more than obedience. Years passed. The tides changed. And then, Rome demanded more. Mark Antony arrived with dreams in his eyes. Dreams of glory. Dreams of legacy. Cleopatra saw something else. A man divided between loyalty and desire. Between Rome and himself. They did not fall in love the way stories describe. They aligned. Two powers circling one another, aware that together they could reshape the world. For a while, they almost did. But Rome does not forgive distance. It does not tolerate alternatives. The Senate whispered. Octavian listened, and slowly, the future narrowed. The Battle of Actium was decided long before the ships met, before the first command was given. Cleopatra understood this as she stood watching the horizon. History had already chosen its direction. It always did. When defeat became certain, she did not scream. She did not collapse. She withdrew. Sometimes survival means knowing when the story has ended. Antony could not accept silence. He chose chaos. He chose finality. Cleopatra remained. She had one decision left. Rome would parade her, turn her into a lesson. A warning. She would walk in chains while strangers decided what her life had meant. That future was unacceptable. Her final night was calm. The palace was still, the air unmoving. Servants had been dismissed. The world reduced to candlelight and breath. She dressed slowly, deliberately, not as a queen, but as someone reclaiming the final word. The serpent was not fear, it was certainty. A symbol older than Rome, older than conquest. Control, when everything else had been taken. As the night deepened, Egypt slipped quietly into history. When morning came, the sun rose, as it always had. But something fundamental was gone. The last pharaoh. The last independent Egypt. A world closed forever. Rome inherited the land, but never the understanding. Today, her name survives. Spoken softly, argued endlessly. Was she a seductress? A queen? A strategist? Perhaps she was simply someone who refused to let others decide how her story ended. And now, as your breathing slows, as the weight of the day loosens its grip, let the noise of history fade. Let the silence remain. Some stories are not meant to wake us. They are meant to guide us gently into rest.